Aloha, folks. You are listening to Inside the Desert Oasis Room, episode number 164. This episode is sponsored by Tandawai Rum, the world's largest rum producer and winner of over 170 international medals in the past 4 decades. Check out their webpage at tandawaiusa.com or follow them on Facebook or Instagram at tandawaiusa. On our third installment of the Covid Chronicles, we chat with Kari Hendler along with Marina, the fire-eating mermaid. This episode was recorded exactly 1 week ago today, and it's amazing how much things have changed since then. Between then and now, beaches in both California and Florida have since been closed, and some of our favorite tiki-centric events have been rescheduled. We have a fun and spirited chat about what's happening on both coasts and what we've challenged ourselves with our newfound time during this quarantine. As always, I hope you enjoy this episode as much as we did bringing it to you. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider helping us with your support during this challenging time. Stop by desertoasisroom.com to check out our merch or leave us a tip. Any purchase or donation, no matter the size, is totally appreciated and helps keep the show on the air. Okay, here we go. Grab a cocktail and join us inside the Desert Oasis Room. And give it up for Kari and Marina.
Desert Oasis Room.
Aloha!
Aloha! Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, very well.
I can hear. Oh, it's my fish.
There we go.
Hello, Sea Hag.
Hello!
I love this.
It's so cool. It's so cool. I'm getting to hang out with 2 of my dearest favorite people on the planet. So thank you.
I'm making a heart symbol with my 2 hands right now, Kari, for you.
I'm sorry.
I'm making a heart symbol with my fingers.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm making a heart symbol with my fingers right now. With my 2 hands.
Cute.
And like
How Justin Bieber of you.
I know, right?
I told Adrian, I said, guys, I'm actually in my car driving back to Los Angeles from Palm Springs to take care of some business out there. So if you hear any honking or sirens, everything's fine. And if you hear me cough a little, I am quite healthy. I just decided to spend the other night. It was such a beautiful night, and I said to Rory, I said, let's open up all the windows and feel the desert breeze. And it was full of course, pollen and dust and sand. And I
Because the desert? Okay.
Yes, because the desert.
So you got desert lung. It's kind of like the desert version of a coal miner cough.
Yes, desert lung here in Palm Springs.
You know, I saw the announcement from Rory about Tiki Caliente today, and I was like, I don't want to cancel my Caliente trip.
Actually, if you look on the Caliente Facebook page, he posted something today. At this moment, as of today, which is March 19th, correct? As of March 19th, he's still planning on going ahead as scheduled. But we're taking all of this day by day. But if you are Tiki Caliente bound, people who are listening to this, please check the Facebook page, and he's going to be updating you and all this other stuff in case the dates have to move at the moment. They're still staying the same at the moment.
Excellent. So where do we start, ladies?
Do, really.
What a week we've had, right?
Oh, good.
Just it's amazing to go from one extreme to the other, and just hearing like a small hint of this at one point, you're going, and
I know.
And of course, and for it to develop so quickly, it's surreal. It really is.
Yeah, and I think I was telling Adrian just before he contacted you, Marina, was that the mood of, I think he wants to is how to keep your aloha spirit in the time of Corona.
Oh,
right.
So if there were ever 3 more positive people to give good advice and just keep good cheer about get through this, it's I can't think of better company than right here.
I think you're right.
That's so nice of you to say, Kari.
We're in the right ballpark, that's for sure.
That's right.
And,
so how are things in Florida, Marina? What's going on there? How is it affecting you guys?
Well, of course, the spring breakers are bananas over here, and that's been a big challenge for folks to try to control, and especially near on A1A by the elbow room where the boys are, sections, and they were pretty nuts this past weekend, and even when they were being told that they couldn't go to the beach, certain sections of the beach, or they couldn't do whatnot, they were not listening very well, so they had to tighten the screws a little bit and keep them from occupying the beach from Miami all the way south of Fort Lauderdale. Then the next day, Fort Lauderdale was included all the way up through Pompano and Deerfield, just all the way up the coast. I think the opposite is true, though, on the west coast of Florida, and they've been getting some flack for it. Clearwater Beach was actually open yesterday, and people were showing up, and that was so. I don't know how much longer that's lasting, if at all.
Are your bars and restaurants and all that, are they open right now?
Right now, restaurants can only do takeout, and that was as late as, today, for example, of course, Mai Kai announced that they're closed, and for Mai Kai to announce that they're closed is huge. They don't close for no one. They don't close in a hurricane. They don't close for anything. So for them to say, that was big.
I'm surprised that they wouldn't do food to go, because if I lived in Florida and the Mai Kai was doing food to go, I would be there like every day.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not sure. I don't think they're doing takeout. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember seeing that in the statement. But for example, the Rec Bar officially closed the day before yesterday, where they actually had said, okay, no, we can't do it. We were trying to think of any way in which we could occupy, the bar is also a restaurant. So we thought, well, we can serve people food and people can kick back. I'll just swim atmospherically just to, raise the mood a little bit. The swim shows were all pulled. And they just got progressively tighter and tighter to the point that the hotel lost so many guests. They're going, we can't. And it makes perfect sense, especially at this point when things are this intense. So the bar is dark, and they're only doing in-house dining currently.
And are people panic shopping just like they are over here? Are
sorry?
you guys out of toilet paper and all that too? Is everybody panic shopping?
Oh, they do the same thing. Well, it's rather funny because we've dealt with hurricanes, and this is almost exactly the same as a hurricane drill. The only thing is that we got Wi-Fi and AC, and it's awesome.
Right.
Because usually we're in the same circumstance, only without power, and we're camping in the backyard and trying to
This virus does not cause diarrhea, so I don't know what everybody's
Well, I don't know what that is either.
It's this. Well, the press will say something like toilet paper, and then people think toilet paper, and then that's it. I mean, if a press mentioned a nail kit, if they mentioned shampoo, that would be off the shelves too.
Well, and Marina, you bring up a good point that you guys always prepare for hurricanes. Yeah. And so as far as panic shopping is concerned, I would think that where you guys are, that's a little bit more in check because people are already used to preparing for some kind of a natural disaster, right? We're out here in California, but people don't really do that.
The only difference is that things aren't being boarded up. Like a year or a few months ago when we were expecting that other storm, I was boarding up the windows and getting prepared. But in this case, all right, we're just kind of watching the news and going, oh, okay.
Right,
well, I guess I should go food shopping. But the supermarkets are open now until 8 o'clock. Then they have a curfew then. They started closing bars and restaurants days ago at 10 p.m. And then all entertainment was to be pulled by 11 p.m. to encourage people to just go home. That was generally it, especially the spring breakers. They don't want to go home for anything. And, their rationale is, look, I paid all this money. I've waited months to do this. And they're doing whatever they can to still have a good time. And as late as Sunday... No, I'm sorry. I apologize. As late as Tuesday I actually swam on St. Patrick's Day. I swam in the bar by itself. The bar was empty. And I thought I'll just jump in the pool and do a couple of passes and take a video. So there's a lot of isolation.
That must have been weird.
Nobody in sight.
What does that feel like when you're swimming in front of an empty window?
It's just like it was back in 2006.
Oh, okay. Good answer. There you go.
So it's like a blast from the past, and it was rather interesting to feel like I'm back starting all over. And so it's just me swimming there alone. And then on the drive back, though, that street was as if, nothing had changed. People were hanging out there and everything. So cops are just watching. There were a lot of cops, but I think they just had to wait for a specific time to say, all right, you guys get out. And now it's really quiet out there, which is nice. See joggers and stuff like that. But the weather's been pleasant, thankfully, and people want to get out. But there is a familiar vibe because of the storm experience. And I can imagine those who've never experienced or had to do something like this, living in other areas, it must be very overwhelming.
This is really unusual for where we are because we don't normally have to prepare for
the earthquakes.
Anything like that. Well, even earthquakes, most people don't.
Surprised you got one, right?
Yeah, most people.
Warning.
But you're still supposed to, and I do, and I don't know if Adrian, if you do, but growing up in Southern California, as I did, and you did too, right, Adrian?
Sure, yeah.
But we always, you always have your earthquake preparedness. You should, and because it's not that I think the power is going to go out or anything's going to go wrong with the water or anything like that, but having food supplies, rice and beans, real inexpensive, and they will keep you well nourished and full of protein and all your amino acids and stuff. But having those sort of things. And being able to, keep yourself self-entertained while we're being, inside. It's like the positive part of we can look at this either the glass half empty or we can look at a glass half full. And this is a scary thing. This is nothing that, in 1918, one of my great-grandmothers died in the great pandemic in New York, the flu pandemic. And we've gone through these sort of things before. This one is spooky because there are now more of us, and it's so easy to catch this one that it's a little like, oh my God, I just touched the surface. Did I touch my face? I forgot. Right. Can I kiss my boyfriend? What can I do at this time? But during all of this, like I said, the tiki community is known for its aloha spirit, and I think it's really important for all of us to sit there and say, this is the time to put that to the very best of use. If you've got older neighbors or maybe people who don't, people who don't have anybody to check in on them, this is the great time to extend that aloha spirit and make sure everybody's from a safe distance. Everybody's okay. Do they need something?
Right.
Can you drop? If you have more food than you need, drop it off. Something off at if you're making cookies at home because you're stuck at home, bring some to your neighbors. Leave them on their doorstep, in a hermetically sealed bag. Don't cough on them.
Right.
So, I think
it's certainly
go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's certainly a time where it will either bring out the worst in people or the best in people. And
that's the thing. In my experience, seeing what happens when the power or something major is cut off to an area. We had a tropical storm that knocked everything out for a month in this area. So we saw things go from the first day going, oh, well, we'll make it through and we're eating our leftovers. Second day, maybe the neighbor says, hey, you want to have some of our barbecue? Sure. Third day. By the end of the second week, it is a free-for-all.
Oh, wow.
And it is just nuts. And so knowing that right now, I feel like I see the cloud just coming to the coast, and I'm just sitting there right now.
Yeah.
We're still.
Thanos is coming.
Exactly. We're feeling that nice momentum from the last push of the last weekend, and we're like, oh, this push was nice, and it's starting to slow down, and that's when we have to pull out our inner creativity and think of ways in order to keep from getting stir crazy, not necessarily just inside, but inner communications.
And right now, this podcast is the perfect example of how lucky we are to live in a time with this kind of technology, because
I agree.
We've got Facebook Live, we've got streaming, we've got all these things.
Yeah.
So people, especially our crazy creative people in the tiki community, what an opportunity this is to stay in touch with all the people you love and all the people who love you by doing fun videos. I mean, teaching people how to mix a drink, doing an online exercise class, Marina. Because one thing here's the thing, and Marina will back me up on this. When you are in a situation like this, where you're going to be having to self-quarantine and be inside as much as possible, that doesn't mean you can't go outside and take a walk or a run.
Sure.
It just means don't be out around a lot of other people. Stay healthy, because if you stay healthy and you don't sit around and eat bonbons and let your glucose levels go crazy, because if you stay healthy and you keep your lungs working and your your blood circulating well from exercise, you have a much better chance of not letting this virus get to you. Your resistance must be kept at an all-time high during things like this. Not just, keeping hands clean and face clean and not breathing and coughing on people or being around those people, but just keeping your own personal health in absolute top shape. And if anybody knows about that, it's Marina. And I know you work out too, Adrian, a lot. And so you're probably having to work out.
Well, here's the thing. The gym's shut down.
Yeah, ours too.
Yeah, and so whenever I'm too lazy to go to the gym, I'll do a 3.5 mile walk around my neighborhood. And then I do have free weights here, and I have the TRX cable system. But the weather this past week has been rainy,
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I think I have a window right now where I can go walk. But then I get tied up doing stupid stuff, and I haven't even been able to do that. So, and what's weird is that it just seems like once this virus started to like really take off and they started shutting everything down, the weather got all gloomy, and it started feeling like the end of the world out here,
I hate to tell you, it's beautiful here in Palm Springs, but as I'm driving, I'm literally driving back to Los Angeles, and I just went around that corner where the clouds catch on San Jacinto and the mountains, and it's overcast and drizzling. So I'm heading back to several days, but I don't mind. It's like you find ways to exercise and stay healthy, and luckily, my boyfriend Rory is very, very just like Marina and Roy. He isn't like I am. We love to work out. We love to exercise. We just before I got in the car to head out here, we just finished taking a 3-mile walk around Palm Springs in this neighborhood, and and I've just gonna exercise at home and exercise when I come back and forth, because I live between Los Angeles and Palm Springs. I go back and forth all week long, so I just stay healthy and all that other good stuff.
Yeah.
But honestly, I can't wait to see what my friends are doing already. I don't know how many of you are friends with Brad Abelson.
Oh my God!
But his posts have been hysterical.
Well, and that's the thing. We have so many artists in the community throwing things out there, and unfortunately, the ones who are getting hit, besides the bartenders, restaurant,
financially.
entertainers are there. It's ridiculous. That's it.
Yeah.
It stops completely. Nothing. Some entertainers have day jobs that they can kind of have a little something to go a little longer. They'll say, I've got half of my hours, but at least they have that. Some of us, it's 100% entertainment. So we went from a busy festival season to zero.
Yeah, it just died.
A day.
And I'm in TV production. I'm a script supervisor, and I had just started a pilot for NBC starring Jim Jeffries, and we did the script reading, and it was like, hey guys, we're pushing everything 2 weeks, and I have a feeling it's going to be longer than that, but and so all of my friends in the television business, all of them in production anyway, are out of work, and we have friends who work at the Disney parks who are out of work, and and Rory's bar is closed, so we all just got to hunker down and be super creative and don't waste a thing, and use this time to read those books you've been meaning to read, to exercise, take care of your body, reach out to your friends and family, and this can either change everybody's. This may make everybody re-examine their life very carefully and say, how can I, when this is all said and done, what was the most important thing to me? What did I get out of it? What have I learned from this?
And it's a big challenge to not let yourself get completely inundated by the negativity and bad press.
Right.
Because it's going to happen. I mean, it's how on earth can you not turn the TV on and not hear something to make you kind of, want to go and, stick your head under a shower for a while.
Exactly.
That, and you have to remember everybody else is doing it too. So it's not just you. Other people are feeling it as well. And if you're higher than everybody else, then use that height to help those other people, and then it winds up switching the other way around. So
that's aloha spirit. Yeah, that's aloha spirit right there.
entertainers that are feeling stir crazy, workaholic me, I'm going bananas. Are you kidding me? I have to do stuff. So I will be making stupid videos. I'll be posting.
Oh, man, I can't wait to see those.
I wish I could fly you out here, Marina, so you could help me. You could help
Oh,
me
there'd be so much stupid. I had hand puppets. Really, sock puppets. I got a bunch of socks I can make puppets out of. I want to. I want. You have to. It's a need, and that's why the bad paintings. Oh boy, you guys are screwed. So many sea hag bad paintings are gonna come out of this house. No one's gonna want them. Maybe they can, use them for drywall or something. But you have to keep that creativity going. And sometimes you're gonna feel funky, and it's gonna happen with those who haven't been through something like this before. Oh, mama! But at the same time, you do have highs and lows, and just be aware that this is a long one. This is going to be a long road, and know that it's going to be a long road.
Is there anything that either of you have done that you normally wouldn't have done, but because of this and having the time and just being home, is there anything that either of you have done that is normally not part of your routine?
Oh yeah, I went when I knew that this was coming. I went to the grocery stores and I bought frozen, like not frozen. I bought. I try and eat as much vegetarian as possible, which is a little bit hard. I'm not a vegetarian, but I try and eat as vegetarian as much as possible. It's just a little bit hard to do when you're having to freeze. Tofu doesn't freeze really well and things like that. But rice and beans, I have the rice and beans. I got some meats and stuff, and I put them in the freeze, so that I just stock my freezer. I stock my mom's freezer, so that, because my goal, it's not that I'm afraid we're going to run out of food. It's that, because I think that's food still going to be coming into the markets. It's that I want to go to the market as little as possible during this. I want to be out as little as possible. So that was a change for me. And the other thing is, I immediately planted my vegetable garden. And also started doing sprouting my microgreens, because
I saw that.
Pardon?
You posted something about that, right?
Yeah,
I saw that.
So and although even if you just have a balcony or just a small area, you live in a condo apartment, you have a balcony, or you maybe have a little patio, you can still plant pots with some lettuce, which grows really fast, or do sprouting microgreens or something, because that way, in case there's some sort of a shortage of fresh produce, of fresh greens and vegetables, even wheatgrass, you'll be able to juice your own or get enough greens, because that's the one thing they are saying. They don't expect to run out of food, but there may be a problem getting fresh vegetables and fruits, because the people who normally do take care of the crops and do the picking for us are people who are coming over, a lot of them from Mexico, and we've now shut those borders. And those people usually come over on visas. So unless American people are willing to do what they should have been doing this whole time and pick their own crops, they may be just sitting there in the field. Hopefully not, but so there may be some shortage there. So I just started planting my salads and greens, which will be ready in a couple of weeks, or maybe a month, and microgreens will be ready within a week. So I've got that going on.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Very, very. I intermittently fast, so already the amount of food that is consumed is considerably lower. That really helps.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's, hey, it's a good time to really crank up the intermittent fasting, isn't it? But continuing education is my big thing. You've got access. Again, we have the internet. Oh my word, you can find out a ton of stuff. And I've been actually wanting to work more on automotive stuff. I want to tinker more with cars. So now I can take an automotive course online, and not necessarily one that you pay for. I mean, entertainers got to watch your nickels and dimes. Yeah. So there are free things, free resources on YouTube and such. Time to start learning about, carburetors and start learning about other stuff.
Oh yeah, and I think one has access to online courses during this time where people could actually educate themselves, and several of the museums have free tours of the virtual tours of the museums. So I mean, this is a great time to expand your mind and distract yourself while becoming more intelligent while this is all going on. And I think those things, people should definitely take advantage of those things as well.
Yeah.
Also, I talked to my good friend Jason Smith, he's also a member of our tiki community who's a major eBayer. And he's probably one of the top eBay consultants and lecturers and sellers in the world. And I called him the other day and I said, hey, how are things? How is this affecting eBay? And he said, actually, not really that much yet. He said,
really?
Because people aren't going out to buy. So he said, especially things, jigsaw puzzles, things that people do when they're just cooped up inside. He said, those are doing really well. So I still, the post offices are still open.
Yeah.
And I would recommend to people, if you're an artist, still keep selling on Etsy and keep selling on eBay. Or if you've got stuff to sell, things are still selling. So make a little extra income that way. I mean, luckily, I'm also a photographer. So the magazines that I normally work for are still calling me to go do shoots. But they're like, can you have this shoot with one other person in? And it's like, so it's just the two of us. It's not like at the Magic Castle where I normally do a lot of my photography for the Magic magazines is closed right now. So I've got another shoot coming up that I'll probably do next month, but we'll do it all exterior locations. Or I'll make it look like, a living room or something like that instead of doing it at the castle.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's still ways to be creative if you're an artistic person. There's still ways to sell your stuff online or do photography and sell it online, or the sea hag and her bad art, as she calls it. I think it's actually
it's horrendous.
It's not.
Somebody suggested a self-portrait. Boy, I don't know. That just might be the worst idea I've ever heard. I have to try it. It sounds horrendous.
I have a feeling we're gonna have one coming real soon.
Woo! My, yeah, that's. I'm gonna need an extra wide canvas for that one. I'm gonna really work that one.
And people have a lot of time now to. They're not closing the liquor stores, are they, Adrian? If anybody
Not that I know. I mean, I don't think that they are.
No, I mean, this is for the Tiki Files. This is a marvelous time.
Yeah.
I did have to laugh out loud when they said the bars were closed. I could actually hear almost like what Obi-Wan Kenobi heard, like the sound of screaming and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. The planet was
I'm going,
up.
all the Tiki Files went, no.
Right.
It was. I had to giggle.
Exactly.
But luckily, like Adrian, who has one of the most beautiful tiki home tiki bars.
Well, thank you.
It's true. Most of the people listening here have some sort of home tiki bar or tiki atmosphere, and they just put on the exotica music, make yourself that drink, get yourself. I'm probably totally dating myself. Does Skype still exist, or do people? There's FaceTime. I'm saying, what am I saying?
Sure.
Everybody get together for a group cocktail, toast and cheer, and keep in touch with each other and share cocktail recipes and do cheery things like that while we get through it. I'm going to be serious here for a second. If they are saying what they are saying about this virus and how it's going to affect people, there's a good chance that some of us, or maybe many of us, might lose people we know and love. Let's hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
But once again, this is one of those things where nature is saying, "Oh, hello, you think you have it all worked out?
Yeah.
Well, hold my beer."
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And that's why it's important also to isolate, because we can actually fight that a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right. You got that intercommunication that makes it a lot more possible.
Yeah.
To reach out.
Yeah. Because as difficult as it may seem, and we're only in the first couple of days of it. Okay, Italy's been going through this for several weeks. China's been going through it for months. I mean, we're only in the first couple of days, and people are already like going, "Oh my god!" Just wait, people. Mm-hmm. Pace yourself. We've got a long way to go.
That'll be a humdinger. Put your coveralls on.
Yeah, exactly. So just everybody, because here's the thing: it's if you do what's necessary now and keep doing it until the coast is clear, you'll be able to continue to go to events, continue to go to your bars, and continue to do your life will go on. It may be a little bumpy at the start for those people who are having some real financial difficulty with it, but life will continue. You will continue. The tiki world will continue. All of this will be there waiting for you if you do the right thing and stay healthy.
Yeah.
And it's a good idea to not to take advantage of the time and do research, and research as in what are resources that are available to you.
Oh,
because normally you completely would be, why on earth even think about this stuff? Why on earth think about unemployment or compensations or anything like that, or any discounts that you can get, or extensions for rent, or what have you, stuff that wouldn't really occur to you. And there's access to that information. You might be able to talk to someone who's connected, who might be able to give you a little extra info. And you got time, get the info. And another thing I wanted to mention is some people are going to get really depressed. And that's my worry is for people who are feeling isolated already, and now they're isolated,
right?
Knowing that we can communicate, but you might have to make the first step in reaching out to them if you have any suspicion that these people are feeling, claustrophobic or nervous or anxious. Sometimes it's good to just hear a soothing voice or see something goofy. That's that. I really cannot overemphasize how important that is for folks that might be feeling senses of dread, especially after listening to just the wrong thing. You have it on the wrong channel. What? No, you don't want to hear that. Or these paranoid Facebook posts that you might see that that are shared, these chain things that they'll send to your messenger, and you're going, is this true? I immediately Snopes. My response is they're usually a one big swift Snopes back, unused in most cases, but you really want to make sure to get as much research, to get as much information as possible, which fortunately is accessible. CDC is the best way to go about it if you want to know the actual thing. That's CDC's the place, instead of relying on.
And so Adrian, what do you do? You've asked us these wonderful questions. How are things going over where you are in your desert oasis room?
I'm trying to keep the podcast rolling. I figure that if I started doing these COVID Chronicles, is what I'm calling them, it would be a way to keep the show going without having to necessarily be face to face. We do have technology where we can do that, right? Where we can just get on the phone and we can still record a show. But, earlier about talking about, what are you guys doing that, maybe you haven't done before because we have all such busy lives. I started watching Bob Ross again. And I started thinking maybe I'm gonna try my hand at this.
We're going to have a hell of an art exhibit when this is all over, aren't we?
I don't know if
great idea.
I don't know if he makes it look so easy, and I don't know if I'm going to pick it up as quickly as he makes it look.
I have a feeling my senses are telling me you're going to come up with some masterpiece. I think a COVID exhibit.
I'm going to do a self-portrait too.
You can't beat my bad art. My bad art is the bottom of the barrel. If you get worse than me, I'm going to have to wipe you out somehow. I don't know.
Adrian's just going to paint lots of bottles of rum.
No, I don't think I was going to say I think Marina's challenging me. Is that a challenge? Are we going for?
If you can do worse art than mine,
bad art championship.
I'm going to have to step down.
I don't know, man.
I'll relinquish the brushes, but my art's pretty damn bad.
I'm sure we can open a show together.
I think. Oh, you know what? Deal.
Bad art
show.
A bad art
Corona
show. There we go.
The virus within.
Mr. Horn, Doug, you don't have to come here. No, you don't have to be here, Doug. Bye-bye.
Doug, you're too good.
Bye-bye. No, you're much too good. Everybody's too good. This whole entire elementary school class, all these kindergartners out of here. No tempera paint. No, we are the masters of the bad.
Yeah, we are.
So that would be amazing. You're on, Adrian.
Okay, I'll take that challenge. But yeah, as far as, taking advantage of the technology that we have today, we can still stay in touch. We can still have these video calls and still do cheers with each other and maybe do like a little happy hour thing or whatever you want to call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And,
absolutely.
It's really interesting because, my two biggest challenges with the podcast is finding guests and finding sponsors. And I put this thing out there about doing this COVID Chronicles episodes, and I have such a huge response for that. I'm like, I could actually line up a dozen or more episodes back to back and record my ass off every day. And I thought, well, if I'm releasing one a week, that's what is that, 3 months worth of content all within like a couple of days. So what I'm doing now is I thought, well, I'm going to record with my friends, and I'm just going to start throwing them out there. And, it's kind of neat to share our experiences, because everything that we're going through it's unprecedented for our lifetime. And so everybody's experience is going to be seen through a different lens. Mm-hmm. It's kind of neat to hear how people are dealing with this epidemic from wherever they are. Mm-hmm. What's neat about hearing, like, for example, Marina says, this is kind of feels like when we have hurricane days, but it's different. Mm-hmm. And then here in California, we're supposed to be prepping for earthquakes, but we never have earthquakes bad enough to where we have to break out the canned food and break out the bottled water.
So, not yet, anyway.
Not yet. Hopefully, not ever. But
right.
But so to share these experiences is just kind of, I don't know, therapeutic in a way that you kind of don't feel like that it's. I mean, of course, you have to take it seriously, but it doesn't feel so doom and gloom, because you're not the only one who maybe has that same worry in your head or whatever that is that you're thinking at this weird time in our lives, So
it is bizarre, and every time something really unpleasant happens, one of my philosophies that every minute that passes is one less minute that you have to deal with it. So it's kind of this nice thing, you're chipping away at this large rock that is in front of you, and every time you smack it, you're going to have one less bit of that rock to deal with, and eventually the rock will be pulverized, but not without time. And we have just begun the chipping. We just have to know that and acknowledge it. We've still got more to do.
Yep.
But as long as everybody knows and has, stays grounded, but it's some days you're not. You're going to wig out, and it's okay. If it allows you to vent, wig out a little bit, and then get right back into it, and look for somebody else to wig out so you can say, hey, it's cool, wig out, come back into it, because sometimes you need that balance in order to keep your head straight. Heaven knows what, some people were kind of thinking, by the end of the month, things will be a little bit better. And others say, by the end of August, September, it could be a year before everything truly gets back to normal. You can't. You have to just keep chipping at your own rock and see what happens.
Yep.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you're doing this, Adrian, because asking people, what have they done differently? What are you doing? How are you keeping occupied? Somebody might be listening to this podcast, and it might inspire and just give them, oh my God, I never thought of that.
We're going to see a whole bunch of bad art now.
There's going to be so much art. Oh my gosh.
Art and friends reaching out to each other, and people being creative, and people, swapping recipes. And if it gets down to, what else can you make with rice and beans?
Right.
I know that sounds like a crazy thing, but I was lucky enough to grow up with all four grandparents, and both my parents, my grandparents and parents had all gone through, some of them gone through World War I, World War II, Great Depression, Korean War. I mean, they've gone through all this stuff. And my father was an Eagle Scout. So my sister and I learned really early how to be prepared, and just not to be afraid, because once again, the psychological and emotional impact that fear has and depression have on you, once again, lowers your resistance. So we have nothing to be afraid of right now. What we have to be is be prepared and be vigilant about our hygiene and following the rules that the Center for Disease Control and the World Health Organization are telling us to do. And that's what we need to do, and that's it. Just follow that right now.
Oh, I'm actually planning on releasing, depending on how easily accessible the wreck is, I'll actually be going there quite often to just do videos of my swimming in the pool. Sometimes it will be a live feed if I can possibly get it to do that. If not, I'll just record it and post it, almost immediately after, just to give people something to look at and see and do. Maybe they can ask me questions. I can take requests, whatever, and just to keep it interactive so they can still see something, or see what's going on in different places as far as entertainment. I believe they do that. The burlesque community has definitely stepped up and done something very similar to that. Angie Pontani's teaching lessons. I mean, this is going on as well, but also to be able to be entertained besides musicians, which have been phenomenal. You see, musicians are doing live broadcasts and feeds of that, and that's terrific. If you get to see a musician that you like, a band, a group that you like, that you normally see at a tiki event, and you get to watch them on your screen and know that you can interact with them in some way and thank them for their for them to entertain you and take you away from it all, which is the service that entertainers do.
Right.
That benefits everybody, and I think that would be it's great that we have this for the moment, and look forward to seeing what creative endeavors people start to get into in order to entertain each other and themselves.
This is also for people who have children. I think this is believe it or not, for some people they might be going, oh my God, what fresh hell is this? But I think other people, if you're getting a chance to spend more time with your kids and maybe really get to know them better and do things together as a family, Marina's going, we all know her. But I'm saying, maybe that sounded a bit, you can tell my former Disneyland past coming out there being all kind of, see, look at the bright side here. Rory and I have 2 cats. And they are absolutely thrilled that we are home with them all the time right now.
Yeah.
So those are our children, or Roka and Wubby. And they could not be more delighted that this thing has caused us to stay inside with them, or stay home with them all the time. So I know I don't have children, so what do I know? I just have 2 cats.
Well, I guess it all depends on what kind of creatures you have in your home. Be they newborn, toddler primates, a 17-year-old hairy kid that you just kind of hope doesn't leave the bedroom.
Which reminds me, people, let's just be clear on this. Just because you're supposed to stay home and avoid other people does not mean that you're supposed to give up on personal hygiene during this time.
Right, exactly.
What do you mean? What?
And by the way, that noise you hear in the
background, I wore pants for 2 days. What?
I am now currently driving through a tremendous rainstorm. So if you hear all that splattering, that's the rain.
I can't hear it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm going through it now. It's pouring down rain where I am right now.
Actually, now I can hear it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, dogs must be really loving this though, because I know my 2 psycho dogs are like going, wow, you were like out all the time working, and now you're here all the time.
Now
and
you're
they're
home.
loving it. They're constantly making my, following me around and checking what I'm doing, and I'm like, oh boy, this is. So I have been posting that. Some people have noticed that the Tongolele de Xolo Squintly, the Mexican hairless, who is 5 months of hairless crazy, it has only just begun. But this whole thing, it's your entire day is based on telling this dog to put that thing down. What are you doing? Where's she at? Have you seen the dog?
Well, some people talk that way just to their spouses. And
I do to the boy often. That's why I keep the door shut.
Put that thing down.
Put that down. Don't touch that.
Stop eating. We just bought this food and it's gone.
I know. That's how it is in my house too.
There's that, and to have to and to explain to your kids must be a challenge, depending on their age, to explain to your kids what's going on, and explain to them the importance of not just the hygiene, but also the what changes are going to happen, because I don't think a lot of kids are quite aware of how different things might be. And this happens with storms, You tell your kid, well, we're about to get a Category 5 to our house. And kid's like, I'm just going to play. I'm like, all right, you do that while I'm boarding up the house, going, boy, if you only knew. Okay.
Yeah.
We forget, I mean, in our lifetimes and in our parents' lifetimes, they had the polio thing, we've had AIDS, we've had SARS, and we've had the Zika one. And so we've had all sorts. We've been through stuff like this before. This is just.
Well, this one's just so bananas.
This, like I said, this one is particularly easy to get.
And it seems to try to outsmart us. Like,
the fact that the world has become one big. Overnight. It's like one big one big weird
petri dish
party. Because everyone's contacting each other and in the same state, you know what I mean? So when you have a storm hitting or an earthquake hitting a certain region, then that region bonds and comes together and says, hey, I know you have water, you have this, and checks on each other. This is the world checking on each other. This is historical, of course. But I mean, the extent of it, that it's that big, I still can't wrap my head around the fact that it's that big.
Yeah.
I mean, the extent of it, that it's that big. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that it's that big. Everybody is doing this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Adrian, what tiki events were you planning on going to this year?
The same events that I normally attend. Caliente, which is coming up, the Hukilau, Tiki Oasis. I was invited to attend the grand opening of the Bamboo Room out in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh,
and everything's been postponed, Yeah. So it's, here in California, we are so lucky to have so many things happening that sometimes it gets frustrating that you have to choose which events you can and cannot attend because there's so much happening at the same time. And it went from being that to having, we're just at home. So, but yeah, I mean, I know that this is not a permanent thing. I know that this is a temporary thing that we're going through, and this too shall pass. So we just hunker down for the time being and make the best that we can of it, help those that we can help, make bad art. And
and I have a feeling, knowing how incredibly crafty the West Coasties are about events, California particularly, because I see that and I'm going, why am I not on that side? Because I see all these events. But I think this is a great way, like a nice little diving board to get these kinds of events going online. So now it's going to become just as busy, but online. Now you'll have 3 choices of different things that you can do via the interweb.
That may end up being a permanent thing where that may be online parties may become more of a regular thing, not just as because there's a crisis going on, but because they're really it might, hey, this was really cool, this really worked. We can be with all our friends, the last Thursday of every month, and we all just hook up our computers and have this.
Humans are really capable of adapting, and I could see something like that happening where it's great to be able to go to those establishments. I personally think if I'm going, if eventually everything is blows over and I'm at the Maikai and we have some sort of a resource that allows somebody else to see what's going on in the Maikai while your friends are at the Maikai too. That would be something kind of neat to partake of at some point or another. And so it becomes this interweb of tiki establishments that gets to connect with others in creative ways. And I guess this kind of forces you to think of what your options could possibly be. And right now, you're just kind of staring, or I am. I'm not as savvy as most people, but you just stare at a screen and go,
It's funny that you say that, but I'm actually, as you are speaking, I'm thinking in my head, how do I set up a live camera in here so that I can log on every once in a while and I can interact with people? So
I would watch that.
Yeah, so
that would be amazing.
I'm going to have that set up what day is it today? I'm going to have a goal to have that done by the weekend.
How is a live camera different? How is a live camera different than just doing live Facebook streaming?
Well, that's the thing, is that you would need to have the Facebook app or the Instagram app on whatever it is that you're using. So I couldn't just hook up my GoPro, for example, because I couldn't run the app on it. So it would have to be a device that I can do that with. And I'm thinking I have an old iPhone that I could probably just mount somewhere in the bar. And it has internet access, and I have an app on that, and I can just log into that app, and boom, there you go. So
what fun!
And I'm sure some people in the audience out there probably have some really great suggestions and ideas as to how.
So I'm gonna do some exploring on that and see if I can get something set up. So.
Well, do you know our dear friends who run the Velveteen Lounge Kitchen? I just saw them when I was in New York last month. We got together for dinner. Well, they've been doing this for years, doing their little shows and fun little videos and putting them on. So how should that be any different? This gives us all the opportunity.
Well, I don't know how they're doing their show, but there's a lot of people that will record their show and then they will edit it and then upload it. And
that's what they do. Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be different. It wouldn't necessarily be a live camera. I mean, a lot of YouTubers don't use live cameras. They'll just record with their phone or their digital SLR, and then they'll edit and then they'll upload it to YouTube, which I think that might be what they're doing also. So
that seems about right.
Yeah, that is what they're doing. But I'm just thinking to myself, they've been doing this for years with their show. So that's
the live aspect sounds delightful because you could even do something like you could do games even, or something. It could be a lot more interactive.
Could be more interactive.
Really beneficial.
Yeah.
Trivia game and somebody wins a prize.
Oh yeah, something like that. So that would be pretty great. And then you never know who comes up and shows up. Somebody might just chime in, and you're going, "Holy cats, we haven't seen them in ages." Or special guest stars on the Love Boat. So it's cool. It's cool.
Right.
Special guest star, the boy in the bubble.
The boy in the bubble.
We're all in our bubbles. we're all walking around like hamsters on those big wheels, just bumping into walls.
What were those called? Papatrails? What were those things?
Oh gosh,
yeah.
No, but hamsters would chew through the bloody thing, so you get it right, and then at night you hear this, and it's the bloody hamster chewing through the darn thing, and then how hamsters are almost liquid, and he squeezes through it and gets out anyway, and then your dog eats it.
Right.
Yeah.
This sounds like you're speaking from personal experience.
From experience.
I had a lot of hamsters as a kid, man. A lot of hamsters.
Wow.
A lot of dogs killed with hamsters.
I managed to scheme getting 13 hamsters. It was a very sneaky thing I did. My mother said that I couldn't have hamsters at all, and I asked her if I could for my birthday, and she said, "No, you can't have any hamsters," because she talks like that. And I said, "Oh, okay." And then my friends had asked me what I wanted for my birthday. I went, "I'd like a hamster," because I thought I'd be sneaky. So yeah, they all got me a hamster, and I wound up with 13 of them. And I
that'll
put them in
teach her.
2 different little. And of course, before I knew it, I had 50.
Oh my God.
I started selling them in the pet shop. It became the big hamster overpopulation of 1976. I don't know.
So Marina the hamster girl, was that a nickname?
Yes, I actually did. I had a T-shirt that said "Hamster People," and I had Band-Aids on my fingers because those guys bite.
They do.
God.
They do.
Creatures.
They are not. They may look sweet, but boy, they make that little face like, you're done for. I lost a lot of pints. Thank you, hamsters.
There you go.
So,
well, ladies, I'm gonna end it on the happy hamster story. I appreciate you guys taking the time, and I love the positivity that you're both exuding during this crazy time.
You gotta, man.
You have to. It's because, what is it again? But what's one of my favorite things that I saw, which is why you never have to worry in life again. Do you have a problem? Yes. Is there anything you can do about it? Yes. Then why worry? Do you have a problem? Yes. Is there anything you can do about it? No. Then why worry?
Right.
It's like,
Alfred E. Newman had it down, man.
Yeah. What, me worry?
Stay healthy. Stay healthy. Wash your hands and this is the creative part is like, how do you kiss the people you love? Because it's still like, if I'm still going out to the supermarket, or you're still going, one person's going to the supermarket, and the other person's still, are we just kissing each other on the top of the head and the neck and stuff like that for the time being? That's the thing.
I ain't kissing no elbows. I'm a hugger. You know how hard it is to be a hugger in this world right now?
Yeah.
Right.
Roy thinks I should get a straitjacket and be like Hannibal Lecter and put me in one of those dollies and move me around because I'm a hugger. Yeah.
All right, that's a much better way to end this.
Okay, we're at the happy hugger.
With a ski mask and
the happy hamster hugger.
I want to hug you so bad. So,
okay, virtual audio hug over the airwaves. How's that to both of you?
That's it. Big hugs, big mental,
big triple
hugs.
I give you the Vulcan greeting.
There you go.
Oh, nice. Oh, look at her going there. I'm going to do that little Bieber heart that you did earlier.
There you go.
Adrienne.
There you go.
Wait a minute. Come on, tiki people. Shoot the shaka.
There you could do that too.
Come on.
You could do that too.
T. Stein shaka's the works.
But I think I'm feeling the Bieber heart right now, so I'm cupping both my hands. I'm cupping both my hands and I'm making a Bieber heart right now.
Bieber style and kind of like pointing at you.
Yeah, there you go. And the wink. You got to do the wink too. So.
And stay tuned to the Medusirena pages because I'll be posting dumb videos of me doing dumb things.
Do you want to put out all your social media stuff so that people know where to see that?
Sure. Fire Eating Mermaid on Instagram. That works great. And Facebook, same thing. Fire Eating Mermaid. You'll find me right away. And,
perfect.
And and you'll get to see all the stupid firsthand. And I'll be serving it fresh.
Okay. And I'm looking forward to bad art.
Oh, I'm telling you. So as am I.
Okay.
Mr. Happy Tree.
Okay.
And I expect you to wear an afro when you paint.
Oh my God. You know what? I do have an afro.
I knew it.
I really don't know if I want to know why you do. Adrian,
Well, it was for a Halloween costume.
He didn't tell you where the afro is located, did he?
Oh.
Hamster. Anyway.
Happy hamster afro.
It actually sounds like we've been drinking by this point.
Right.
It does. See how easy it is? It's called delirium. It works super well. Just as well.
Well,
I love a delirium with a topper of 151.
right, with a 151 float.
Gates of delirium. My afro is upon my head. We're ready.
All right.
That's a hell of a soundbite I'm going to use right there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thanks again, ladies. Take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you both again in person.
You shall.
Sooner than later.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And we things to say, and then we can actually hug you.
Yes.
Oh, so hard. Your head's
Yes.
going to pop like a tick.
Oh, right.
Oh God! Every time I think we're going out on a pretty image,
I'm
Marina
the
goes,
sea hag. I'm sorry. I can't help it.
Oh my God.
I love you both so much.
I love you too.
I love you more.
Love you both.
Aloha,
Aloha.
Sea Hag, and we will be in touch.
We'll be in touch.
Aloha to
Alrighty.
everybody listening out in interweb land. All of you out there.
And to all of our listeners.
Solidarity.
Be groovy.
Cheers and aloha, everyone.
Cheers,
Right.
aloha.
All right. Bye-bye, ladies.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.